Hidden in plain sight, invasive species are spreading chaos across America. From the lush wetlands of Florida to the winding rivers of the Midwest, these uninvited disruptors are upending ecosystems and threatening biodiversity. Today, we're spotlighting the 5 most destructive invaders and diving into the lasting damage they're leaving in their wake. Let's travel to the swamps of the Florida Everglades, where a new king of the food chain reigns, the Burmese python. Originally brought to the U.S. as exotic pets, these snakes were released into the wild by owners who couldn't handle their growing size and hunger. With no natural predators in the Everglades, the pythons quickly multiplied and took over, becoming an apex predator in a delicate ecosystem. They've wiped out native animals like raccoons, birds, and even alligators. Yes, a snake so powerful that it takes on a gator and wins. These silent, slithering giants can grow up to 20 feet long, and their insatiable appetite has left local wildlife populations in shambles. Efforts are underway to capture and remove pythons from the Everglades through hunting programs, including a unique initiative that invites the public to participate. Scientists are also studying new methods, like the use of trained dogs to sniff out the snakes in dense vegetation. And, of course, public education is key. People are encouraged not to release exotic pets into the wild, as their impact can be far-reaching and irreversible. With persistent efforts, we can hope to restore some balance to this remarkable but fragile ecosystem. The gypsy moth, now known as the spongy moth, is another silent destroyer creeping through our forests. Brought over from Europe in the 19th century, this seemingly innocent insect has become one of the most destructive pests in North America. Its caterpillars, covered in tiny, spiny hairs, can strip entire trees of their leaves in a matter of days. Without their leaves, the trees grow weaker, and over time, many are killed by the stress. Hardwood forests, once lush and full of life, are under constant threat, and entire ecosystems are shifting as these pests continue to spread. But all is not lost. To protect our forests, a combination of strategies is being employed, from biological control, like introducing natural predators, such as tiny parasitic wasps, to using pheromone traps that confuse the moths and stop them from reproducing. In heavily infested areas, insecticides are sometimes used, though sparingly, to minimize environmental impact. Homeowners and landowners can also take action by checking trees for egg masses in the fall and removing them by hand. The fight is ongoing, but with early intervention and vigilance, we can prevent the gypsy moth from taking any more of our trees. Then, there's the terrifying northern snakehead, often called the frankenfish. With a name like that, it's no surprise this fish is anything but ordinary. Native to parts of Asia, the snakehead was introduced to U.S. waters illegally, and it's been wreaking havoc ever since. What makes it so dangerous? Unlike most fish, the northern snakehead can breathe air and survive out of water for hours, allowing it to travel across land to find new waters. Once it invades a pond or lake, it becomes a relentless predator, consuming anything in its path: small fish, amphibians, and even birds. Its aggressive nature and rapid reproduction have left native fish populations in shambles, throwing entire ecosystems off balance. But this Frankenstein isn't unbeatable. In places where it's been found, wildlife agencies are taking action, using targeted fishing efforts to reduce populations and even deploying traps to capture the snakeheads. Educating the public about the dangers of releasing non-native species into the wild is key to preventing future invasions. In some areas, anglers are encouraged to catch and remove snakeheads whenever they can, and some states have implemented laws that make it illegal to possess or transport them. By working together, we can stop this fearsome predator from claiming any more of our waters. Nutria may look harmless with their large, innocent eyes and furry bodies, but these giant rodents are far from it. Brought over from South America in the early 20th century for fur farming, nutria quickly escaped into the wild and began wreaking havoc. They're relentless grazers, devouring marsh plants and grasses, leaving wetlands stripped of their natural defenses. But it's not just their appetite for vegetation that makes them dangerous. Their burrowing behavior weakens the banks of levees and dikes, creating pathways for water to erode the land. The damage they cause leads to soil loss, destabilizes entire ecosystems, and threatens critical infrastructure from flood barriers to water systems. Wildlife management agencies are using traps and targeted hunting to reduce their numbers, while habitat restoration projects are underway to help wetlands recover. Planting vegetation that is less appealing to nutria helps to protect marshes from further damage. In some regions, efforts to strengthen levees and repair erosion-prone areas are critical to reducing the impact of their burrowing. If we can control nutria populations and restore the land they've damaged, we can begin to protect our wetlands and the communities that rely on them. Finally, we have Japanese honeysuckle, a sweet-scented vine that was once a favorite in gardens and landscapes. Introduced to the U.S. as an ornamental plant in the 1800s, it seemed like a harmless addition, filling the air with its fragrant blossoms. But as with so many invaders, it didn't stay where it was planted. The vine quickly escaped into the wild, where it began to climb and strangle trees and shrubs, covering everything in a dense blanket of green. Its rapid growth chokes out native plants, reducing biodiversity and disrupting the delicate balance of ecosystems. To protect native habitats, land managers and gardeners are focusing on removing honeysuckle from areas where it's taken hold. Cutting back and removing vines before they flower is key to preventing the spread of seeds. In some cases, herbicides are used, but carefully, to avoid harming other plants. Planting native species in place of honeysuckle can help restore areas impacted by its growth, allowing local wildlife to thrive once again. With time and effort, we can reclaim these spaces from this seemingly innocent invader. Invasive species may be relentless, but so is our ability to fight back. Protecting our ecosystems starts with awareness and action. The question now is, how far will we go to stop these invaders before they reshape our world forever?